and constitutional law professor Muneeb Qadir, who joins us now from Lahore in Pakistan. Muneeb, good to see you. Good to have you on the show. Kamran, rightly so, described the situation as a huge challenge. I mean, I'm wondering if I can start off by asking you how optimistic you are that the world can actually step up, given the challenge and some of the difficulties we saw in the early stages of this crisis, where the world was perhaps slow to respond and in terms of the fundraising efforts did not really meet the targets.
More than optimism, it's about the responsibility that the global community owes to Pakistan in this situation, because as the UN chief Antonio Guterres has also mentioned in today's conference, that this is not a disaster of Pakistan's own making. Pakistan has been, as he said, doubly victimized by climate change and then, morally corrupt global financial systems, which means that the UN chief has drawn attention to the need for greater debt relief access and how important it is for middle-income countries, and particularly in Pakistan's context, the focus which should be on recovery and reconstruction of Pakistan. As you've also mentioned in the introduction, more than 1,700 people have lost their lives, and more than 8 million people have been displaced, of course, to reconstruct their lives, to make up for the loss of livelihoods that they've suffered. There is a huge amount of money that will be needed, and Pakistan is already under a lot of debt. Pakistan is a middle-income country. We are a developing country, and we don't have those many financial resources available at our disposal. So that is where the international community will have to step in. Now, how optimistic am I? The fact that the international community has shown its willingness to step up. For instance, as a Pakistani, I'm very thankful to President Macron of France. He has pledged $384 million that would be contributed by his country. And similarly, Turkey, President Erdogan, he's also made a similar pledge. And even the European Union, Ursula von der Leyen, she also pledged. So the international community is talking about it, the fact that this conference did take place today. So hopefully something would be done in this regard. Enough at least to enable those poor people who are now suffering from waterborne diseases and more climate change challenges to be able to rebuild their lives.
Muneeb, so you're saying the world owes Pakistan, and that is exactly the message that the Pakistani delegation sort of put to the forefront when it attended the COP27 summit in Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt in November. We all know that Pakistan was on the forefront of efforts to the creation for the establishment of a loss and damage fund. Do you feel that how the world responds now with Shehbaz Sharif's call is going to set the tone in terms of the feasibility of the funds for other countries in the future?
Absolutely, because it's not just the Pakistani floods which has started this debate or dialogue or conversation among members of the international community. We can go all the way back to the Paris Climate Agreement in 2015, and there was this pledge by the global community that they would be putting in efforts to reduce global emissions. Now that's the whole thing. Global emissions are mostly owing to the activities of the developed world. That is where it's coming from. And if our developed economies across the world, they are not committing to, or they are not committed to reducing global emissions, then countries like Pakistan would suffer as they are suffering right now. So in that regard, I think that yes, today's conference or the diplomacy even that has been carried out by our Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto Zardari, he has been highlighting for a long time now the need for developing access to funds for countries like Pakistan to be able to manage climate disasters more effectively. I think that should put into motion, and that should set into motion greater access for climate disaster management, not just for Pakistan, but for many other countries facing the same predicament.
Muneeb, since you said that Pakistan is in need of funds, I mean, I'm sorry I have to say this, but it's almost like adding insult to injury, because right now Pakistan's economy is struggling. And on the sidelines of this important conference in Geneva, you have the country's finance minister meeting with the IMF delegation, talking about a bailout program, and this is crucially important too for the country as well.
It is, and more the reason actually that the international community has to step up and they have to do more in relation to helping Pakistan in this situation. Like I said, we've been trapped under a lot of debt, and IMF's harsh conditions that they've attached in relation to the loans that they have provided us, debt relief, and not just for Pakistan. Just today there has been a report by The Guardian that for Sri Lanka, which has been facing economic crisis for very different reasons, to be able to make it out of their current economic crisis, they would also need debt relief access. So this is exactly what Antonio Guterres meant when he referred to morally corrupt global financial systems in his address today.
Okay, Muneeb Qadir, live for us from Lahore. Thank you very much for joining us here on the NewsHour.